Hi, and welcome to DrupalBrief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. Okay, that's it. Make sure to click subscribe, and here we go.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep into Drupal Core 11.2. This is a feature release, and it's bringing some really intriguing advancements, things that change how we build and optimize websites. So if you've ever found yourself wishing for maybe a more fluid development experience or faster installs, maybe just a snappier site overall, you're definitely going to want to hear about what's under the hood here.
Absolutely. And what's truly fascinating, I think, is how this core version, it really targets both those common developer friction points and the broader performance goals. It feels like it's setting the stage for some significant future advancements across the whole Drupal ecosystem.
Right.
So our mission really in this deep dive is to distill the most important insights from, the recent discussions around Drupal Core 11.2. We want to give you a clear shortcut to understanding the most impactful changes this release brings.
Definitely. And when we talk about fundamental shifts, well, how we construct components is right there, front and center.
Right.
Single directory components, SDCs, they've been a big focus for a while now, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
Moving from experimental in 10.1, stable in 10.3. But here's where it gets really interesting. Drupal 11.2 introduces variants for SDCs.
Right.
So from a practical standpoint, what kind of new possibilities does this really unlock for front-end developers?
Yeah.
Things that weren't maybe easily achievable before.
Yeah, this is a huge leap forward, I'd say, for modern front-end development. SDC variants, they essentially let you have different ways of presenting a component's information. You don't have to create entirely separate components for every little visual difference,
Oh, okay.
There was a great analogy we heard that they're kind of like view modes for content types. It lets you define multiple display options for the same underlying component data.
That makes sense. So more reuse.
Exactly. It grants incredible flexibility. You can choose to have separate template files for each variant, keeps things nice and modular, or you could even build conditional logic right into a single template based on the variant being used. Now, it's a bit different from how, say, Storybook uses variants, which is often more about property value presets for testing. Drupal's approach here is really focused on that display flexibility right at the theme layer.
Right.
And the long-term implication is pretty significant. You might see shared component libraries increasingly needing 11.2 or newer if they use these variants, which in turn could really speed up the adoption of those more sophisticated experience builder type tools.
That sounds like a really powerful tool, especially for consistency, creative control on big projects. But okay, beyond components, one of the sort of perennial conversations in the Drupal community has been around certain conventions, sometimes playfully called Drupalisms, right? They could be a bit of a hurdle, maybe especially for newcomers. I know I've heard plenty of developers wish things were simpler, maybe even like reducing the need for module files altogether. Is 11.2 taking a step that way?
It absolutely is. Yes. Drupal 11.2 takes a really significant stride towards a more modern, object-oriented approach. It does this by allowing preprocess hooks, those specific points where you can tweak data before it hits the screen.
Right.
They're defined as object-oriented classes now. This was described as a significant step closer to not needing module files anymore.
Wow. Okay.
So for any developer who's, wrestled with understanding the traditional hook system or found module files a bit of a barrier, this is a major win. It really makes it easier for developers to get started with Drupal, and it aligns better with more contemporary coding patterns. That's a big boost for bringing new talent in.
Less wrestling, more building. I like the sound of that. And speaking of efficiency,
Yeah.
who enjoys waiting around? Nobody,
Oh.
right? Whether you're setting up a new project, adding functionality,
Yeah.
those install times, they can really add up. I'm curious, is 11.2 making any practical, time-saving improvements there?
It definitely is. Yeah, one of those really common waits has been directly addressed. The module installer, It's been updated. Now it only rebuilds the site's brain, the dependency container, after several modules have been installed together.
Instead of after every single one.
Exactly, instead of re-optimizing after each individual one. It might sound like a small detail, but the impact is actually pretty profound. We're talking about significantly speeding up the process when you're installing multiple modules at once.
I can see that.
For big projects, or just setting up environments frequently. This isn't just a convenience. It could easily add up to hours, maybe even days, of saved developer time over a year. That's a tangible boost to productivity.
Wow, yeah, that actually makes a big difference. So faster setup times, a smoother developer experience. That's a clear theme emerging here. It really sounds like 11.2 is doubling down on boosting developer efficiency. Faster installs, cleaner code. And speaking of efficiency, does that also extend to how Drupal manages its foundations? Like dependencies, packages? What's new there?
Indeed. There are two notable advancements on that front. First, there's the recipe unpack composer extension.
Okay.
What this means is when you use Composer to require a recipe, which is basically, a pre-packaged bundle of modules, config, maybe themes.
Right, the recipes initiative?
Yeah. Its individual dependencies now get automatically added right into your site's main composer.json file. The really clever part is you can apply the recipe, then you can even remove the recipe package itself later, and you still have a fully functional site because all the underlying bits are now managed directly in your main composer file.
That gives you more control.
Exactly. Simplifies long-term maintenance. And then secondly, the package manager. It's now a hidden module within Drupal Core.
Hidden. Why hidden?
Well, it's more foundational. It might sound minor, but it's actually a critical piece that enables those big initiatives the community's been working on for years. Things like automatic updates, the project browser.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes it much easier for site owners to keep their Drupal sites up to date and secure, even without deep technical knowledge.
Lots of crucial work under the hood, making things more robust, more automated for everyone. Okay, let's shift gears just slightly to something that impacts every single user: performance. Particularly visual performance. I've been hearing a lot about next-gen image formats lately. Is AVIF support making its way into Drupal 11.2? And what makes it so special anyway?
AVIF is definitely the new front-runner in that image format race. And yes, Drupal Core 11.2 now officially supports it. WebP is still there as a fallback for servers that maybe don't support generating AVIF just yet.
Okay.
AVIF. It's one of those formats that uses a compression algorithm originally developed for video, actually. But it's been found to offer, in many cases, some pretty significant additional compression savings for still images, too.
So smaller files, faster loading.
That's the goal. From an overall performance standpoint, supporting AVIF should make your website just that little bit snappier, loading images faster for visitors. And the browser support is surprisingly strong already. It's hovering around 94% or so.
Wow, that high already.
Yeah. It really highlights this ongoing compression race in image formats, doesn't it? For a while, WebP was seen as sort of it. But then AVIF emerged, proving that the quest for even more compressed, more efficient image delivery, it just keeps going.
Yeah, it never stops. Keeps us on our toes.
It does, for sure.
It's incredible how quickly that landscape changes. So beyond these sort of big ticket items we've discussed, what else should we know about this 11.2 release? And maybe, crucially, when can we expect to actually get our hands on it?
Well, beyond the major features, 11.2 also includes, as usual, a variety of important dependency updates. Things like Seek Editor, Symfony, Composer, and more. Just keeping everything modern, secure, performant.
Usual housekeeping, but important.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, there are countless minor improvements, bug fixes, far too many to cover in detail here. As for the release itself, when the original discussion happened, it was expected very shortly after. Typically, these releases land towards the end of the week, maybe late on a Friday. So it should be out there for everyone to explore very, very soon, if not already.
Great. So wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Drupal Core 11.2, it really feels like a release that's focused on making the platform more powerful, but also more user-friendly for everyone involved, developers, site builders, even site visitors, through performance gains. It's about tangible improvements.
Yeah, I agree. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these updates, especially the SDC variants, the improvements to the developer experience, reducing those Drupalisms, speeding up installs Drupal is it really demonstrates Drupal's ongoing commitment to embracing modern web development practices and delivering, substantial performance gains. It feels like a release that's both addressing current needs and strategically looking to the future.
Absolutely. Which leads to a final thought, perhaps. Considering these continuous advancements we see, like image compression, developer tooling, how do you think platforms like Drupal will continue to evolve to meet those ever-increasing demands for speed, for efficiency in web experiences? What's the next big leap you foresee? Maybe in web performance, maybe in ease of development. What might we be discussing next time? Something to think about.
Okay, we're done. To close off this podcast, I just wanted to remind you that this brief was a fully AI-generated summary, and we take no credit for the original content. If you want to learn more, then check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. And if you like this podcast, hit subscribe, post a link on social media, and recommend it to 2 friends. That's it. See you next time. Bye for now.